The stars don't shake for ordinary people, only when a soul wakes up loud enough to move the sky. Chosen ones, they've been watching you, plotting, waiting, whispering behind doors you don't even know exist. Not because you've done anything wrong, but because you dared to carry light into places that feed off shadows. They can't stand the thought of you rising, so they scheme, stir chaos, and set silent traps, hoping to trip you just before the breakthrough breaks wide open. They don't attack the weak, they target the rare, the ones whose steps shake systems. And you are the disruption they feared would come. Before we go any further, hit the like button and subscribe to help push this message out to more chosen ones. When you engage, it tells the platform this frequency matters. That truth deserves reach. That you're not just here to watch, you're here to signal the others. This isn't just content, this is alignment, so lock in. Now, breathe. You weren't imagining it. The friction, the random misfires, the strange tension that crept into calm places, the timing of it all, just as you started to level up. That wasn't bad luck. That was pushback. The moment your energy shifts into forward gear, the static rises like smoke. You've felt it. The sudden silence from people who once praised you, the way your wins started making others squint, the unexpected blocks that seemed too specific to be random. You see, the universe doesn't just whisper to the chosen, it shields them. And when it moves in your favor, it disrupts everything built to keep you small. That disruption doesn't go unnoticed. The people around you may act funny, but the truth is, they're not fighting you. They're wrestling with the echo of your becoming. You remind them of everything they gave up on. You terrify their comfort zones. You were never too much. You were just too real. You were never alone. You were just surrounded by those who couldn't see beyond the surface. Stop doubting your light because others wear blindfolds. Stop shrinking just because they flinch. The power of being chosen is not comfort, it's collision. Your presence exposes lies. Your growth breaks cycles. That's why the pressure's up, because your next move has the power to end patterns that have gone unchallenged for generations. You are the storm they said would never come. You are the silence that speaks louder than their noise. You are the glitch in their system, the one thing they can't predict, control, or copy. And yet, here you are, still rising, still glowing, still chosen. So don't mistake the chaos around you as a sign to stop. It's a sign you're too close, too hot, too aligned. The universe isn't testing you, it's clearing your path by shaking loose what can't follow. If you've been second-guessing your vision, feeling out of place, or wondering why life suddenly got 10 times louder, this is why. You're in the eye of the shift. The blessing is forming, but the noise is trying to drown it. Don't fall for it. Don't look back. Don't feed the chaos with your focus. Because they don't need you to lose, they just need you to hesitate. So stand up in your moment. This is your signal. You're not alone. You're not off track. You're not imagining it. You're chosen, and the universe fights for its own. Now lean in. There's more. If you've made it this far, it's not by accident. It's because your spirit recognizes the truth when it hears it. Drop the number 77 in the comments if you're done letting noise knock you off track. Let the universe know you're locked in, because what comes next isn't surface talk, it's deep alignment. And trust me, if you're truly chosen, you won't scroll past this. You'll feel that magnetic pull to stay all the way through. They tried to throw you off, but you're still here, still focused, still rising. Let's get into it. Number 1. When the ground shakes before your first step. They felt your power before you did. That's why they started the war before you even knew there was a battlefield. Chosen ones, they saw it coming, not your face, your force. Before you even opened your mouth, before you stepped into your purpose, before you made a single move, the air changed. The frequency around you sharpened. They felt the shift in your silence. They knew something was aligning, and they hated that they couldn't stop it. That's why they came early. That's why the attacks felt random, why people switched up, why the atmosphere around you turned heavy without warning. It's not because you're weak, it's because your rise is real. Your blessing was detected before you even realized it was forming. While you were still doubting yourself, the system they built started glitching, and they blamed you for the static. You keep asking yourself, why now? Why me? Here's your answer: because you're the one the universe marked for disruption, not destruction, disruption. The system isn't scared of the ordinary, it's terrified of those who carry the power to shift it. And you're not just carrying a gift, you're carrying a rupture. Your blessing isn't just for you, it's the kind that shakes foundations and exposes what was never stable to begin with. The moment the universe began rerouting resources to fuel your path, the echo reached your enemies first. Like animals sensing an earthquake before it hits, they felt your next level tremble through the ground. You hadn't even taken the step yet, but they already started throwing stones. They're not reacting to what you've done, they're reacting to what you're about to become. So stop calling it paranoia when your soul starts picking up static. Stop calling it coincidence when old triggers try to claw their way back. You're not imagining it, you're intercepting the backlash meant to distract you from what's coming. They don't need to destroy you, they just need you scattered. Because if they can't stop the blessing, they'll try to break your focus before it lands. And here's the part they'll never understand. You weren't chosen because you were the loudest, the flashiest, or the most polished. You were chosen because your core doesn't bend. Because even in confusion, you rise. Even when cracked, you glow. You're the type who becomes more dangerous the more they try to bury you. So let's address the doubt, that ugly, quiet question creeping into your mind. Am I really chosen? Yes, you are. And it's about time you acted like it. Because when the universe chooses someone, it doesn't send flowers, it sends fire. It clears the path by exposing what can't come with you. That's why people switched. That's why jobs started draining. That's why you suddenly feel too big for rooms you once prayed to be in. You outgrew what was meant for your past, and now the present is stretching you for the future. And still, some of you sit in silence, wondering if you're worthy. Worthy? You're not just worthy, you're dangerous to every structure built on silence, lies, and control. That's why the pressure's rising. Because your light doesn't just shine, it confronts. Your presence forces truth out of shadows. You're not here to be accepted, you're here to realign the atmosphere. They played with the system, manipulated the board, built false networks to keep people numb, distracted, predictable, and then you walked in. The anomaly, the spark, the glitch. You didn't follow the script. You didn't play nice. You listened to the pull instead of the pressure. And now they're plotting, scrambling, whispering, watching. But here's what they didn't account for. You're not fighting alone. The universe is behind you, not beside, behind you, like a loaded bow, pulling back every setback, every betrayal, every closed door. So when it releases, your rise will cut through everything they tried to block. This is why they panicked before you even moved. Because chosen energy moves through dimensions. It sends warnings without saying a word. They weren't just reacting to you, they were reacting to the frequency of your future. So stand up, stop doubting, stop apologizing for the tension you cause when you walk into rooms that weren't built to hold your blessing. They knew what you were before you did, and they feared it. You should too, in the best way possible. Fear it enough to respect it. Respect it enough to stop entertaining chaos, and stop giving access to people who treat your light like a threat. They're not just trying to throw you off. They're trying to delay a force that was never meant to be controlled. And it's too late. You've already been chosen. Number 2, they bring the chaos because they smell the change. When they can't stop the rain, they pray you forget your umbrella. Confusion is their last weapon, but clarity is your rebellion. Chosen one, have you ever noticed how all hell breaks loose the second you decide to move forward? Like clockwork, the noise gets louder, the old ghosts crawl out of their hiding places. The people who once clapped for you now question your every move. Money dries up, technology glitches, miscommunications spiral out of thin air. It's not random, it's not unlucky, it's the resistance reacting to your release. They know, even if you don't, even if you're still sitting in self-doubt, wondering if you're really built for this, they already got the memo. That's why the chaos hits when it does, not in your weakest moment, but right when you're gaining momentum. You're not losing your mind, you're entering the zone where the veil thins, where your breakthrough is no longer a concept. It's pressing against reality. And the system that profits from your confusion is scrambling to stop the clock. You see, opposition isn't punishment, it's confirmation. It's the enemy's last-ditch effort to blur your vision right before the blessing drops in your hands. They can't intercept what's coming. That ship has already sailed. But they'll throw storms in your path, hoping you forget you're the storm. Your elevation irritates everything that survives off your silence. The closer you get to truth, the louder the lie screams. That's not coincidence, that's warfare. You're being tested, not because you're cursed, but because your alignment is disrupting old cycles that were never meant to survive your awakening. You're not crazy for feeling overwhelmed. You're not soft for needing rest. You're not behind just because things feel chaotic. You're at the threshold, and that's where the shaking always starts. What they don't want you to know is this: the turbulence means you're in range. No pilot hits turbulence on the runway. It comes when you're in flight. And you, chosen one, you've lifted off. They'll accuse you, gaslight you, withdraw support, throw curveballs, all to make you question if you're really chosen, as if this intensity could happen to someone ordinary. Let me ask you, when's the last time the world fought this hard to keep a small person quiet? Exactly. They don't launch attacks against people who pose no threat. The resistance is a response to your rising. It's not the enemy being strong, it's the enemy being scared. And their favorite weapon? Confusion. Not destruction, not assassination. Just enough fog to make you miss the moment. Just enough noise to cloud your clarity. Just enough weariness to make you hesitate when the door cracks open. They don't need to steal your blessing. They just want you distracted when it arrives. That's why the betrayal stings deeper than usual. Why the delays feel personal. Why you wake up tired even when you've slept. Because your body is sensing something bigger than your mind can process. You're expanding. And expansion requires the death of comfort. You think you're losing, but you're actually shedding. And the problem is, you've been trained to see resistance as failure instead of confirmation. But ask yourself, who benefits from that mindset? Who profits when the chosen mistake pressure for punishment? They do. The ones who want you silent, still, safe, shrinking. The ones who lose power when you stop apologizing and start walking like someone backed by the universe itself. Because you are backed, surrounded, held. The universe doesn't assign breakthrough without building capacity, and right now it's stretching you on purpose because the size of what's coming requires more space than your current self can hold. That's why it hurts. That's why it's messy. That's why it feels like nothing is stable. It's not falling apart, it's expanding in disguise. And yet, in the middle of this chaos, what do? You doubt yourself. You second-guess your gift. You wonder if maybe you misunderstood the calling. Let me stop you right there. You didn't misunderstand the assignment. You've just been hit with noise right before the drop. They want you flustered, frustrated, focused on survival instead of preparation. But that stops here, because here's the real flex: stillness. In a world built on distraction, your ability to hold focus becomes your superpower. While they chase drama, you anchor. While they panic, you prepare. While they throw storms, you learn how to surf. Because you're not here to react, you're here to rise. So the next time it all hits at once, the chaos, the tension, the weird silences, the unexplained fatigue, don't ask what's wrong. Ask what's coming. Because something is, and the proof is the pressure. The same people who once dismissed you are now secretly tracking your moves. The same energies that ignored you are now obsessing over how to distract you, and it's all because you stayed the course when you had every reason to quit. You passed tests no one saw. You bled in silence. You buried parts of yourself just to keep moving. And now it's time to rise. But understand this: blessings don't arrive quietly. They shake things. They agitate everything not built to carry them. So if your world is trembling, it's because the delivery truck is pulling up, and the enemy's only move left is to fog your windshield. Don't let them. Keep your focus. Guard your energy. Don't chase what left. Don't explain your growth. And don't downplay your becoming just to fit back into spaces that couldn't hold your future. You're not who you were. You're not going back. And you're not folding. Not now. Not after all this pressure. You are chosen. And your blessing isn't just powerful. It's disruptive. So when confusion comes knocking, let it find you calm. When chaos swirls, let it find you grounded. When the world tries to throw you off, let it realize it's too late. You've already locked in. Number 3, when they switch up, it's because the air changed first. Betrayal doesn't break the chosen. It reveals the ones who were never meant to rise with you. Chosen one, it hits differently when the ones you trusted are the first to turn. When the betrayal comes not from enemies outside, but from the ones who once claimed to be in your corner. That sting you've been carrying in silence, that knife in the back you didn't see coming. It wasn't just heartbreak, it was alignment. They didn't change out of nowhere. They switched up because something in you started shifting. The air around you got heavier with purpose, and it exposed the ones who were only loyal to your past, not your future. You didn't lose friends, you lost camouflage. Because when your frequency rises, it doesn't just attract blessings, it pushes out what can't survive your next level, and nothing gets flushed out faster than fake loyalty. You want to know why betrayal hurts so deep? Because it's surgical. The universe uses it like a blade, not to kill, but to cut ties that delay your elevation. The betrayal you didn't ask for was the very thing that freed you from dead weight. You were too loyal to drop yourself. They weren't targeting you because you messed up. They weren't gossiping about you because you failed. They moved funny because your presence started convicting them. Your growth started making them uncomfortable in their stagnation. That's what truth does. It disrupts anything built on illusion. Let's get one thing straight. Betrayal isn't a curse, it's a clearing. It's the universe saying, you're about to rise. Let me clean the air first. but you've been stuck asking, why would they do this to me? Wrong question. The real question is, why did I tolerate their energy for so long? You saw the signs, the side comments, the lack of support, the half celebrations when you succeeded. You felt the jealousy crawling under their smiles, but you made excuses. You called it loyalty, you called it history, you called it love. But the universe called it delay. So it intervened. It exposed what you wouldn't confront. And yes, it broke your heart, but only to break you free. This isn't new. This is ancient. This is divine order. Every chosen one walks through the sting of betrayal before elevation. Why? Because the weight of your next chapter requires clean hands, clear energy, and an uncluttered circle. The snakes can't go where you're going. And if they could, they'd poison the space the moment you arrived. Look at the patterns. Look at your life. Wasn't it right after the betrayal that your mind got sharper? Wasn't it after the silence from fake friends that your voice got louder? Didn't your vision get clearer once the distractions were removed? Exactly. The betrayal wasn't a setback. It was the shove you needed to step into your real power. You needed that cut to feel the difference between being liked and being aligned. And yet, some of you are still grieving access they should have never had in the first place. Let it go. That chapter's closed. Don't mourn the mask. Be thankful you saw the face underneath. Because here's the secret, your elevation isn't coming, it's already here. That's why the betrayal had to happen now. You were carrying too many passengers for a destination that only had room for one. And they knew, oh they knew, they felt it before you did. They noticed how your energy started vibrating higher, how your words started cutting deeper, how your silence started speaking louder than their noise. And instead of clapping for your growth, they conspired to contain it. But the joke's on them. You don't need a crowd to rise. You just need clarity. You've got it now. So the next time someone walks away, don't chase, don't beg, don't shrink. Just smile and say, "Thank you for revealing yourself before my breakthrough hit." That's not ego, that's survival. Because betrayal doesn't block blessings. It clears the runway for them. The loss was loud, yes, but your launch will be louder. And don't you dare confuse being alone with being abandoned. You're not abandoned, you've been set apart. There's a difference. Isolation isn't punishment for the chosen, it's preparation. It's where the universe does its best work. It's where distractions die, where vision sharpens, where noise fades and truth rises. If you're feeling empty right now, it's because the stage is being set. And those who walked out on you, they couldn't handle the spotlight your calling demands. Let them go, let them talk, let them twist your name. The universe heard every lie and saw every fake hug, and it still chose you. You weren't chosen to be understood. You were chosen to shift things. That means betrayal comes with the territory. But here's what they didn't realize when they tried to throw you off. You don't break like they do. You grow, you rise, you evolve. You take the knives thrown at your back and build stairs with them. You take the silence and fill it with purpose. You take the betrayal and turn it into blueprint. So if you've been betrayed, congratulations, you're right on schedule. Don't slow down, don't dull your shine, don't question your gift just because they couldn't see it. You carry something sacred, and whether they applaud or not, you will rise. Not in spite of the betrayal, but because of it. Number 4, you walk in and the room adjusts. That's not ego, that's energy. You don't need to speak for the shift to be felt. Your frequency enters first. That's why they flinch. Chosen one, by the time you open your mouth, it's already too late for them, because your energy said everything before your words ever arrived. You've been wondering why rooms suddenly feel colder, why eyes shift when you enter, why people you've never wronged respond to you like a threat. Here's your answer. Your vibration is louder than your voice, and it's already announcing your arrival before you even know what you're stepping into. You haven't changed your tone, you haven't thrown shade, but the tension still shows up like clockwork. Why? Because people rooted in confusion can feel when someone aligned walks in. Your presence puts pressure on everything fake around you, and they know it. It's not what you said, it's what you carry. You carry power, you carry clarity, you carry proof that growth is possible, and that makes people who thrive in their own stagnation deeply uncomfortable. And no, you're not paranoid. That cold shoulder from someone who used to cheer you on, that awkward silence in rooms you used to dominate, that subtle shade disguised as concern, all of that is a response to your spiritual volume rising. They're not reacting to you. They're reacting to the announcement your energy made before you even sat down. This is what elevation feels like. Not everyone clapping, not everyone celebrating. Sometimes it's everyone watching, wondering how you dared to evolve without their permission. You've been trying to stay small, trying to make others comfortable, trying to tone it down so you don't make it weird. Let that go. Let all of that die, because your light isn't up for negotiation. You didn't get here by accident, and you didn't survive what you've been through just to dim your presence so others can breathe easier in your shadow. If your growth makes them twitch, good. If your discipline makes them defensive, good. If your peace makes them restless, good. You were never built to blend in. You were built to stand out, not by force, but by frequency. The reason they can't quite look you in the eye anymore, because their spirit recognized yours, and it shook something loose in them. You're not battling egos, you're rattling foundations. You're showing them a version of strength that doesn't rely on noise, and that threatens everything they built to hide from themselves. And so, what do? They mimic you. They flatter you with one hand and sabotage with the other. They use words wrapped in support but laced with static. They trigger old wounds. They whisper doubts. They try to reintroduce the version of you that you buried with your healing. That's not friendship. That's infiltration. They don't need to attack you with weapons. All they need is one well-placed whisper. Are you sure you're ready for this? And boom, if you bite, the seed of doubt begins to grow. The enemy doesn't have to take your blessing. All they have to do is convince you you're not ready for what's already yours. But you are. You've always been. Stop waiting for everyone else to recognize it. Some of them already do. That's why they've switched up. That's why they act funny. That's why they hover in your space with eyes that don't match their smile. They felt your rise before you claimed it, and it scared them. Let them be scared. You didn't come this far to be apologetic. You didn't level up just to keep explaining your worth to people who already decided they'd rather envy you than evolve with you. If they can't handle your truth, they can stay with their comfort. But you've got forward to get to. Because that strange tension in the room when you walk in, that shift in the atmosphere, that's confirmation, not confusion. You're vibrating higher, and your energy is disrupting what was never meant to remain stable around you. You're exposing, not even on purpose, but just by existing as the healed, growing, aligned version of yourself. And they hate that you did it without their approval, without their help, without their permission. Let them hate it. Let your silence unnerve them. Let your focus offend them. Let your joy be the thing that calls their bitterness out by name. You're not here to convince anyone anymore. You're here to claim everything the old version of you thought was out of reach. Because what's for you It's already vibrating at your frequency. It's not about chasing, it's about aligning. And right now, you're walking so in tune with the truth of who you are that doors are unlocking without you knocking. But only if you keep moving. So don't fold when the whispers come. Don't retreat when the room shifts. Don't doubt yourself when the fake support turns cold. They're not uncomfortable because you're doing something wrong. They're uncomfortable because you're finally doing everything right. This is what being chosen looks like. It's quiet, it's powerful, it's disruptive, and it always shows up before you even realize how loud your light has become. Number 5, when the door slams, it's because you're not meant to crawl through it. They told you no because they couldn't see the version of you that was coming, but the universe did, and it rerouted you before you settled. Chosen one, it wasn't failure. It was protection disguised as rejection. And if you've been sitting in the ashes of something that didn't work out, a job, a relationship, an opportunity, wondering why it slipped through your fingers, listen carefully. You were never meant to beg for spaces that couldn't hold your future. That wasn't a loss. That was a redirection. You see, rejection always feels personal at first. Sharp, loud, humiliating. But what you couldn't see in the moment is what the universe was already adjusting behind the scenes. They shut you out of that door, not because you weren't worthy, but because you would have settled. You would have gotten comfortable. You would have stayed too long in a place designed to limit you. That discomfort you feel, that tightness in your chest, that sense that nothing is sticking, it's not chaos, it's course correction. Look at the patterns, the fatigue, the fog, the random conflict. It's not breakdown. That's the pressure of a breakthrough fighting to be born. The discomfort is confirmation that the old structure can't carry the new weight. And so it cracks. Doors close. People ghost. Plans fall through. It's frustrating. It's painful, but it's sacred. Because you, chosen one, were never meant to climb ladders leaning on the wrong walls. And when the universe knows what you really carry, it won't let you waste your light in places built for survival, not evolution. They didn't fire you. They freed you. They didn't reject you. They revealed the limitation of their vision. They didn't overlook you. They gave you the space to build what no one else could see yet. Let them. Let the no be the blessing it always was. Let the closed doors become the red flags you wish you'd seen sooner. Let the rejection push you, not paralyze you. Because here's the truth they don't tell you. When you're chosen, the universe will start removing options that look almost right, so that you don't miss the path that's absolutely yours. You think they were just being harsh. You think you missed your moment, but the moment you thought you lost, that was never your final destination. That was just a test, a checkpoint. And when you passed it by, choosing not to break, the map rerouted towards something bigger. This is the part where it gets lonely, where it gets quiet, where things stop making logical sense. But that's also when the magic starts showing up. That's when you start hearing the whisper, keep going. Even though nothing's working, even though everything feels heavier, even though the people you counted on disappeared, you feel the pull anyway. That's your confirmation. Chosen ones aren't carried, they're carved, sculpted by fire, refined by the discomfort of not fitting into places that were too small for them to begin with. You ever wonder why the rejection felt so personal? Because you weren't just losing an opportunity, you were shedding a version of yourself that was still trying to be accepted by systems that were never designed for you. That's why the job said no. That's why the relationship crumbled. That's why the opportunity vanished. You were too powerful to stay in a place that fed your fear instead of your purpose. And now the universe is realigning your steps. But here's the deal, you've got to stay awake. Because the greatest trap after rejection is distraction, doubt, delay. You start to think maybe you were the problem. Maybe you asked for too much. Maybe you're not as gifted as you thought. That's the noise. That's the residue of a lie they tried to plant in your mind, hoping you'd bury yourself before your blessing even landed. Don't fall for it. They can say no to your face, but they can't cancel what's already vibrating in your direction. The redirection wasn't just necessary, it was non-negotiable. You had to be pulled out of that situation before it diluted your calling. And here's what they never expected, that you'd rise anyway, that after they shut the door, you'd find another route, that after they counted you out, you'd count yourself back in, that even after the loss, you'd still walk like someone whose name is on something bigger. Because it is. You're not just going to recover, you're going to rebuild differently, stronger, smarter, louder, not in volume, but in vibration. Because now you know what it feels like to be shut out, and now you know better than to wait for a seat at tables you were meant to flip. This is your reroute, and trust me, what's on the other side of this closed door will make you thank it for locking. So stop replaying the rejection, stop calling it failure, stop shrinking every time you remember how they dismissed you. They didn't see the full picture, but the universe did. And it's already realigning everything to match the version of you they couldn't handle. That's not revenge, that's redefinition. And it's happening right now, in the silence, in the stretch, in the storm. You're not being punished, you're being positioned. Rejection didn't delay your destiny, it protected it. Number 6, when they can't touch you, they try to trigger you. They don't want your fall, they want your reaction. But silence, that's where their plans go to die. Chosen one, you've felt it. The pressure, the noise, the sudden spike in distractions. It's not just happening around you, it's happening at you. They're not launching attacks to win, they're throwing chaos to wear you down. Because if they can get you exhausted, agitated, and emotionally tangled, they don't have to steal your blessing. You'll hand it over out of frustration. But you're smarter than that now, wiser, sharper, quieter, because you've started learning the most dangerous form of power isn't found in how loud you get, it's in how still you become. Stillness isn't weakness, it's warfare. The world taught you to respond to everything. Clap back, defend yourself, prove your worth, prove your innocence. But that's their game, a game built to drain you. You don't win a spiritual war by playing emotional ping-pong with energy that was designed to dismantle your focus. Your silence, it makes them panic. Your stillness, it exposes their noise. You don't have to defend what's already protected. You don't have to answer what doesn't deserve access. When the universe has already aligned in your favor, the most radical move you can make is to do nothing when chaos comes knocking. Let them stir drama, let them bait you, let them misquote you, misjudge you, misread you, because every ounce of chaos they throw your way is proof that you're walking into territory they never wanted you to reach. Stillness is not passive, it's precision. It's standing firm while the storm rages around you, knowing that nothing built against you can touch what was designed for you. You think silence is doing nothing. Let me tell you, silence shatters egos. It breaks illusions. It exposes motives. Stillness is when you let their plans trip over themselves. And right now, that's exactly what's happening. They've studied you, studied your patterns, waited for your triggers, crafted distraction after distraction to make you self-destruct. This isn't random. It's a spiritually calculated attempt to fracture your focus. You ever notice how temptation shows up right after you make the decision to discipline yourself? How people you cut off suddenly reappear with good intentions? How old wounds resurface just when you start healing? That's not coincidence, that's targeted resistance, and stillness is how you beat it. Because when you stay still, they run out of moves. When you stay still, the truth rises from the fog, and while they exhaust themselves trying to provoke you, you're conserving energy for the blessing that's actually coming. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in a cell, 27 years of silence, isolation, injustice. But do you know what happened in that confinement? He sharpened, he listened, he learned. He became so focused, so spiritually prepared, that when the door opened, he didn't crawl out. He walked out, ready to lead. That confinement wasn't punishment, it was consecration. The silence didn't shrink him, it sculpted him, and that same energy is on you. You're not behind, you're in incubation, you're not forgotten, you're being forged. They think you're being passive, they think you're weak because you're not swinging back. Let them. You're not here to react, you're here to rise. And you know what most people never figure out? The moment just before the breakthrough, that's when the noise gets deafening. That's when people get bold with their betrayals. That's when the emotional bait gets the most tempting. Not because you're off track, but because you're one quiet decision away from unlocking something too sacred for the unprepared to handle. You are standing on the edge of something irreversible, and the enemy knows it. That's why everything is intensifying. That's why even small things feel sharp. That's why the shadows are louder than usual. You're being tempted not just to fall, but to react. Because if they can't stop the blessing, they'll try to taint your spirit before you receive it. But here's the truth. You don't need to swing when the gate is already opening. You just need to stay steady long enough to walk through it. Stillness is your resistance. Stillness is your boundary. Stillness is how you refuse to participate in the circus designed to distract you. Let them spiral, let them fumble, let them throw fits in the dark. You're not here to flinch, you're here to fulfill. And every time you choose stillness over sabotage, silence over scrambling, peace over proving, you step deeper into the energy of being truly unshakable. So breathe, center, watch. Do not engage the noise. Because the louder it gets, the clearer the signal. You're exactly where you need to be. Stillness is not the absence of action, it's the presence of power. And right now, you are more powerful than ever. Number 7. When the universe makes you wait, it's because the room isn't ready for your fire. Delay isn't rejection, it's a final coat of polish before the spotlight hits. Chosen one, if it feels like you're stuck in the waiting room while the world keeps spinning, hear this, you are not being denied, you're being developed. What looks like silence is strategy. What feels like pause is preparation. The universe isn't late, it's exact. And right now, it's aligning conditions not just for you to enter the room, but to own it. You think you've been overlooked, passed by, forgotten, but no, you've been hidden, kept under wraps like a secret too sacred to be mishandled. You weren't ignored, you were protected, because what you carry isn't light, it's volcanic. And if it was released too early, in the wrong environment, around the wrong people, it would have been mocked, manipulated, or mangled. So yes, the delay hurts. Yes, the quiet seasons feel like punishment. But ask yourself, would you rather be exposed too early and undone, or refined until your presence breaks the room wide open? Look at Tyler Perry. They called him crazy. He wrote shows no one attended, slept in a car, lived in rejection, and still he wrote. Still he believed. Still he planted seeds that no one clapped for. Until one day, the harvest came. And when it came, it didn't knock. It kicked in the door. Now he's not just in the game, he owns the arena. That's not luck, that's alignment. And you're next in line. But not for scraps, not for small rooms. You were built to shake systems. And that kind of calling takes time. Not because you're not worthy, but because your impact requires depth, discipline, and complete detachment from the need to be seen too soon. They're watching you. Don't think they're not. They see the quiet shifts in your energy. They see how unbothered you've become, how still you stand. That peace you carry now, it's loud, it's different, it's unshakable, and it's making the very people who once ignored you nervous. You've been quiet, but your silence has been working overtime. While others scrambled for approval, you went underground. You let the universe carve you in private, and now the unveiling is beginning. But here's the real twist. You're not just walking into a blessing, you are becoming one. You're not just chasing something, you are the thing that shifts spaces, wakes people up, and brings alignment just by showing up in full authenticity. That's why it's felt heavy. That's why the pressure's grown, because what you're carrying isn't normal. It disrupts, it stirs, it exposes, it forces the fake to fall and the sleeping to stir. And yes, they can sense it. They don't even know what you've got planned, but the energy is enough to spark panic. And still, you wait. Still, you prepare. Still, you rise slowly, because you know that when your moment hits, it won't be subtle. So now you're standing in the stretch between what was and what's next. And in that tension, the questions creep in. Am I running out of time? Did I miss my chance? What if it never happens for me? Let me be blunt. If it wasn't going to happen, the resistance wouldn't be this loud. They wouldn't be panicking. You wouldn't feel this push and pull in your soul. The distractions wouldn't intensify right when you're starting to gain clarity. This isn't a breakdown. This is the breaking open of something sacred. You don't need another sign. The weight itself is the sign, because only the chosen get forged in fire this long. So no, don't go back to what you already outgrew. Don't water yourself down just to make time feel more comfortable. Don't confuse slowness with absence. The universe is not stalling, it's staging. And when your unveiling hits, it won't just shift your life. It will shake everyone who doubted you. Not because you need revenge, but because your presence will speak the truth without saying a word. I was never denied. I was just being sharpened. So here's the real question now. Will you let the pressure bury you, or will you let it remind you of the promise? Will you shrink back into comfort, or will you keep walking even when the path feels invisible? Because you've already crossed the line where fear can't follow. You've already grown too big for the space you were in. The expansion is inevitable. The only thing left is your full surrender to the process. The unveiling isn't coming, it's begun. And once the full version of you steps forward, the version that doesn't chase, doesn't shrink, doesn't second guess, nothing and no one will be able to withstand your energy. So don't misread the wait. Don't label this delay as punishment. It's divine, it's precise, it's prophetic, it's the deep breath before the roar. This isn't falling apart, it's falling together. Let it. Because the moment you realize that you are the blessing, the game doesn't just change. You become the one who rewrites the rules. And now, chosen one, take a breath and let this truth settle deep. Nothing you've faced was random. Every delay, every betrayal, every closed door was preparing you for a breakthrough that can't be blocked. You didn't just survive, you were sharpened. And what's coming won't just elevate you, it will expose why the battle had to be this intense. If this message hit home, like this video, subscribe, and drop the number 77 in the comments to confirm your alignment. Share this with another chosen one who's been silently fighting because their moment is coming too. Let's rise together.